He was the attorney. Graduated with us.
Okay, yeah.
And
I forgot all about him.
Joe Sergi.
Sergi.
How much is film? Who else is it? Oh, Tony Stankers. I don't know if you know Tony.
Sergi shocked me too because I had seen him not long before he had passed.
I went over to his house and took him 2 gallons of water. And he sat up there. Yes, and he says, he got one more treatment of chemo up in Cleveland. He said, I should have been drinking that water before now. I said, I tried to tell you, Joe.
Okay, wait, let me get your name before you say that. Give me your name. Say your name.
Oh, Cleo Elkins Jr. Is it recording now?
Yeah, it don't
Cleo Elkins Jr. And I'm 43 years old. 43. I was born in 1943.
You right, Cleo Friday.
Yeah,
you wish you was 43.
I was born in 1943. I went to Francie Willard High School, Francie Willard Elementary School. I went to East Junior High School and went to Harding High School. And then in 1961, I graduated. In 62, I went to the service. I spent my 3 years in Germany. Came back, got hired at American Welding as a machine operator. I worked there for 3 years. Traveled to Connecticut, working for Pratt & Whitney Aircraft Corporation. Came back and started working at Packard. For 30 years there as an employee there, but I also had worked there for 16 years as a foreman. And then I spent the last 14 years as a pre-plane engineer. And during that time, I learned how to fly an airplane. So I got over 200 hours of flying time. And then I went to Coast Guard school.
Oh, you did? You went to where?
Coast Guard school. Yeah, I learned how to handle a boat out on Lake Erie, you know, and I love that. So, these are the things that I've done over my lifetime. I'm thankful that I got a chance to do a little flying and fishing in Lake Erie. You know, it's just been pretty nice. Now, I've been married, what, twice? I won't talk about that.
we was talking earlier. When you was in elementary school, what did you want to be? Do you remember?
I had no idea what I wanted to be in elementary school. I had no idea. All I remember doing was riding my little bike down to the YMCA where it got stole, and that was my thing, athletics at that time. But I didn't know what I wanted to do in high school. I had no idea. But after I was working at the House of Fashion, my last 2 years of high school, I got a chance to build some chairs and tables for Mr. Price, who got it owned the place. And in high school, I was always good at woodwork. So when I told Mr. Price I could build these tables, he let me build them. And
Mr. Price was who?
Mr. Price owned the House of Fashion, the ladies' store downtown. And I remember asking the contractor that came in and built some shelves before I did, asked him for a job, and he told me clearly he just doesn't hire black boys. Shortly after that, I ended up joining the service, and I went to Europe. Spent, like I said, 2.5 to 3 years in Germany, and came back. And that was the beginning of, you know, trying to find a job and getting situated. You know, it's just been really good for me, you know, in regards to finding decent jobs at the time. Right now, things are bad. People can't find no decent jobs around here. But anyways, it's worked out well for me. But because I knew I could do a lot of carpentry work, I decided as I got older, you should be able to advance that. So I started building garages. I built about 10 garages, roofs, sidings, windows. And I decided, well, if you can build a garage, you ought to be able to build a house. So I decided to buy some property on Comstock, and I went to work. I had a guy by the name of Jay Hursto that helped me to do the foundation, and from that point on, all the woodwork I did myself. I built the house from scratch, from the bottom on up. And after that, I sold that house and took those dollars, and I built the house that I'm living in now, and I've been here now for 41 years. So, and I did all of this while I was working at Packard. You know, when I was working day turn, I would come out in the evenings. When I was working afternoon turn, I came out in the morning. and worked on my houses. So that's the story of my life.
When you was in high school, Harding High School, did any of the woodshop teachers, did they ever encourage you to go into the construction field? Or
No, as a matter of fact, I remember Mr. Peterson was my wood shop teacher, and a lot of things in wood shop I could teach him. Matter of fact, I learned how to make a piece of wood shine from just water and sandpaper, and he couldn't believe that. So, and then I started building some little cedar chests. I made about 20 little small ones, and then I ended up making a big 4-footer for a young lady that lived over on Briar Street. I'll never forget that. But I sure wish I had kept that cedar box. But anyways, that's what I did. So as a young man, I did a lot of carpentry work there, and as I got older, I figured I could do something bigger. And I did work at American Welding for 3 years. They put me down in the Department 50, which was machining only, and I worked with airplane rings in tolerances as small as plus a half a thousand, and I did well. So understanding how I was accepting the fact that I could work in such close tolerances, I figured a house can't be that close. But anyways, I cut all the lumber in both my houses, and both of them are still standing to this day. So the one on Comstock's been up there now since 1975.
but nobody ever encouraged you to go into the construction field?
No one ever encouraged me to go into construction. Matter of fact, when I built the first house on Comstock, I had a plumber from Cortland come out and do my fixtures. And when he saw how nice the house turned out, he told me if he knew that the house was gonna turn out as nice as it did, he would have charged me more for the fixtures. And as he drove off, he called me a little black nigger. I'll never forget that.
Why did he do that?
I don't know, Fred. You know, I just said, look, man, if you were gonna charge me more for putting me in because of the color fixtures, then you wouldn't have got the job. That's when he called me up a name.
About what year was that, you remember?
74.
74.
1974. Even when I bought this property out here, I bought it over the telephone from a guy up in Champion. I paid $5,000 for the lot, and when I went out to get my deed, he tried to buy it back from me. Matter of fact, he wouldn't let me come in his front door. He sent me to the back door. And this lady on the other side over here, she's gone now, complained about a black man buying out here.
What year was this, Stephen?
That was 76.
76.
Yeah, it ain't been easy, but nevertheless, I persevered, and I just kept my head on what I wanted to do in life. I knew that once I got in Packard, I wasn't going to make the kind of money that I thought I should be making, which I didn't. So I knew I'd have to do something different, and this is it: building houses. Put up garages and houses. That was my side job.
When you was in elementary school, tell me a little bit about your mother and father, where you lived.
Oh, we used to live in the Benton homes. I remember we lived on Liberty Court. Moved from Liberty Court up to Lincoln Drive, and from Lincoln Drive we moved over to what we call the Draper Street Apartments. Okay, and from there we moved to Hazelwood. And to go back a little bit, in the Benton homes we had coal bins, and we had wood bins. Let it ring, Fred. We had wood bins, and I remember days going out there to get coal and wood, hoping that it didn't get bit by a rat. And I guess people don't really realize or don't remember the days when we had to heat up the whole house in a coal stove. And, you always had to get your fire started, just like you was out in the woods somewhere, to heat the whole house up. Letting people get on my nerves.
Call from 91947
Hit that, Fred.
46940.
Accept it and cut it off.
Call from
Yeah, But life is, it's been an experience to be where I'm at today and look back over my life and see how we used to live and where we are today. And I thank God for a nice place that He put me in for the time I'm on this earth.
Tell me about your father in the golf.
Oh,
How did your father get involved in the golf?
My father started caddying down in Alabama, and he kind of fell in love with the game back then. But when we came up north, black people weren't allowed to play on golf courses. But Dad managed to get on the golf course. Well, he did a lot of practicing behind the bent homes rut. I had to chase his ball, which I didn't like to do, and that's how my father played golf. And I play golf now myself, and not as good as him, but that's where it started. Dad was probably the only black man in the city of Warren that played golf. But from that point on, a lot of his friends hooked up with him, went out and they played. And father had a double eagle. I'll never forget that. Dad had a double eagle on Eastwood Golf Course on number 1. It was over 500 yards. He put that ball in 2. Can you imagine hitting a ball that far? And then the second shot, that's for my dad with golf. So I come from a golfing family because, that's all he loved to do. But I like to play golf now, and I like to do a lot of fishing. I like to travel. I love Las Vegas. So life hasn't been that bad.
What did your father do for a living?
Dad worked at Copperwell as a scarfer. And I got a chance to work with him for a short period of time at Copperwell. I didn't stay there long. I didn't like the environment, the dirt, the steel. That's what he did. But I was there for a couple of months, and I left and ended up at American Well, and ended up eventually at Packard. So things kind of fell in line for me as far as jobs are concerned. And at Packard, I'll never forget. They put me in some pretty tough departments. Once you got the department straightened out, they would give it to a white boy to reap the benefits of what you did. Okay, and that's just the way it was at Packard. But I'm still thankful for having a job, making a decent money, trying to save as much money as I did so I could have something when I got older. And it's paid off. It's paid off for me.
What about your mother? Was she a
Mom never worked. My mother never worked. But Mom just was I wish I knew some of the recipes that she had. I ain't lying. I can't make that potato salad and sweet potato pies and that pound cake. Missed out on that. So that's where my sisters came into play.
Your sisters? Tell me a little bit about your sisters.
Well, there's Carolyn, Nita, and Geraldine. Carolyn being the oldest, Nita being the second oldest, Geraldine being the baby who's under me. All I can say on camera about any one of them, they've all had their own lives. They make their own decisions. We've all made mistakes in life, and they have too, as well as I have allowed some things in our life that we knew wasn't good for us when we did it, when we allowed it. It wasn't that we went out looking for it. It's just that when you're gullible, you're gullible. But anyways, my sisters are still here, all 3 of them. Geraldine's in Atlanta. She's the one that introduced me to this water machine. And I didn't know enough about the water. She kept saying, bro, you ain't drinking enough water. I was having back problems. My father had back problems. And I just figured, well, the problems I was having, I thought it was heredity. But as I found out later, I was just dehydrated. Because when I started drinking my water, my back problem went away. It's the truth. I don't have that problem anymore.
You can explain to me a little bit about the water.
All right, the water machine is called a Levelux 501. And what it does, it takes regular water, converts it to alkaline. And what it does in the process of water going through the machine, it's actually putting minerals back into water that was in water before water was ever contaminated. And what it does is it increases the hydrogen portion of the water, which the higher the pH, the faster it'll clean you, the faster it'll energize you. So there's a thing on there called the filter, they call it. and the filter actually puts the minerals back through the water. The water passes through the filter into past 7 titanium plates that converts it to alkaline.
You actually sell this water to people?
Oh yeah, well they come and get it. Yeah, they give me what I ask for it. You know, I can't really put a price on what it's worth because a lot of people, you know, I just want to expose it to people to know there's something out there that you can do to help yourself. Okay, health seems to be my biggest thing. Even when I was in high school, I remember Mr. Baker. Remember Mr. Baker? I always got A's in health. And there was Mr. Blakely. Mr. Blakely, he always took care of me in history. He took care of me, man.
Mr. Blakely was
Just a teacher, but he was a family friend.
black.
Yeah. So,
He was an African American, right?
African American, yes, sir. So learning about the water is kind of steered me in a lot of directions of health. I've learned about the honey, buckwheat honey. I've learned about the reflexology, detoxification. And it just goes
Explain
on.
to me a little bit about what is the reflexology?
Reflexology is understanding the pressure points in the foot and the hand in relationship to the rest of the body. It's like what I've learned is when you hit certain pressure points in the feet, the transmission from the feet to the brain, it might be painful, but it's passing through the pressure point of a certain organ in the body. And when it does that and the pain goes away, that means it woke up that part of the body. You've experienced it. It works. And it allows the body to heal itself. When you go to the honey portion of it, there's some natural things in honey that will give you the rest that you need. And when you're resting is the only time the body will restore itself. So that's where I'm at with that.
Did you ever think that maybe you could have been a doctor at a different period of time?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
No school teacher ever encouraged you to go into.
Never once.
Why do you think that was?
Because I'm black. Back in, if you remember, Fred, back in Francis C. Willard, they would do these vocational things on you. And I was told back then that I would probably no more than a garbage collector. That was back in elementary school. So back in the day, they kind of made you think that you're not going to be able to do certain things in life because of who you are, because of your color. And that's a farce, man. So, I mean, I didn't let it, I mean, I can remember it, but I didn't let that hold me back. That's how I ended up as a foreman at Packard, engineer at Packard, building houses like I have. That, and I just determined to do what God gave me the ability to do. That's where I'm at.
And you also fly an airplane. You have a
Oh,
pilot's
yeah.
license,
Yeah,
right?
well, I have flying airplane. I went out, I remember going out to Youngstown Airport. And I saw this guy named Ray Cross, I'll never forget him. And they had a little small airplane sitting under the hangar. I asked him how much it cost me to take me for a little ride. He told me $5. So away we went. I went and got my private pilot license and my medical. As a matter of fact, Dr. Logan gave me my medical. And I started flying. After about 50 hours, I soloed by myself. And then I did about 4 solo cross countries by myself. Exciting as all get out, man. When you want to sit down and plot a course, do your weather synopsis charts, get your VORs together, and fly it, what an accomplishment. Man, that was great. I'm telling you, that was great. And then I met a guy named Jim Singh. I had a boat. I had a 20-foot Sea Ray. And I took my dad and Ron Gibson up to Lake Erie, not knowing how to handle that boat. So me and Dad and Ron went out and waves were splashing over the bow. And guys were going out on smaller boats. I'm figuring, well, hey, I'm doing something wrong. So I had a friend named Jim Orsine that took me to Coast Guard school and taught me how to handle a boat in big waves, like 20, 10-foot waves. I learned how to do that, so it doesn't frighten me to go out when it's rough out there. If you go out and it's nice and it gets rough, you know how to get back in without hitting the panic button. Oh, good time. But that was my thing. Matter of fact, the picture, you saw the picture, didn't you? It's in the kitchen? Yeah.
Again, but they never encouraged you to do any of this stuff in high school.
Oh, no,
They
never.
told you.
No, not one time did anybody encourage me to do anything that I've done in life. No. Not one. I can't remember a teacher. I can't remember one teacher that ever encouraged me to do anything that I ended up doing in my time. Not one.
Did you have any black people back in them days that you looked up to, that you?
Well, I was crazy about my father. And my Uncle MC, who loved mechanics. And my cousin Curtis is gone now. And Buddy Hightower.
Buddy Hightower. Tell me a little bit about him.
Buddy's married to Paul Warfield's sister. And he's now a pastor. But as I sit back and think about these guys, you know, my family's getting older and they're passing away. And in fact, I just lost a cousin who's going to bury him tomorrow. Yeah. And so, Buddy and, who did I say, Buddy and Curtis, those are my brothers, man. Those are my older brothers, 'cause I didn't have a brother. Those are guys my father, number one, was the one I looked up to. He used to take me and Norm West out to Avalon Golf Course and left us thinking that because he played golf the way he did, that I would just pick the game up, but that's not so. But anyway, I'm still playing golf to this very day. So,
You think that your father recognized any disability in you when you was?
no, I don't think so. No, Dad didn't.
What do you think your father would say if he could come back today and see you?
I think he'd be proud of me because, you know, after I built the first house, being probably the only one in the family that built a home. Yeah. Well, what would he say now? I think Dad would be busting buttons on his shirt. That's what I believe. I believe he'd be busting buttons on his shirt. Say that was my son.
What do you think? You look at the generation that you grew up in, and the stories that you just told me, and you look at the generation, the present generation. What do you think? What do you think the difference is? Do you see a difference in it? The way
we give our kids too much, and they've come through a period of time, a time in life when they really haven't had to work for too much. They haven't gone through the tough times we've gone through. And I'm glad we want to make life better for our children that follow us, first of all. But you also want them to appreciate what they have today and realize that they got to work for what they want. What they get, they got to work for it. No one's going to hand it to you. But life for them has been easier than it was for us as we came along. Because I reflect back on, you know, the coal stove, the coal, the wood, you know. I remember the horses coming to the project for our milk. Remember that?
we jump on the back of the horse. Yes.
Or I'd feed the horse some grass. They don't have a clue about that. They just go to the store and buy what they want, man. And then when at this date, when they need something, they just call us. And they expect you to come up with it. And 9 times out of 10, we do. So we still want life for them to be better than it was for us as we came along. We want to be a little bit, but we also want them to appreciate where we came from. That's important. You got to appreciate where we come from. The only way they're going to learn that is listen. The kids today don't want to listen. They want to listen.
Do you think some of that is our fault?
In my case, you cannot be a part-time dad. Okay? My ex left when my kids were young. I got my kids every weekend for 14 years. every weekend, never missed it. So you really can't instill in a child everything they need to know over the weekend. Can't do it. You need to, it was meant for a man to have a woman. It takes a man and a woman to raise a child. It takes the man's input and it takes the wife's input. And when you got it separated and they go back, they start thinking on their own, because now I don't have to worry about making an excuse to dad, what am I going to do this week? So they drift off, lacking discipline. That's how I see it. And it shows today. But a lot of things during my marriage I didn't understand about bipolar. I didn't have a clue. And it's a sickness. And it can be passed down from one generation to the next generation. And if you don't understand it, it can cause a lot of confusion in the children's minds. And that's what happened in my case. So my case is different maybe than some others who have had the opportunity to grow up with their kids. My kids, again, it's rough being a part-time dad. Okay? Now as time has gone by, yeah, she might reflect on and say, well, I made some mistakes. Can't you forgive me? Yeah, I forgive you, do all that, forgive me, all that. I said, but I'm not smart enough to understand your condition. So when you see some of these traits passed on to your children, you want to try to straighten them out a little bit too. But because they grew up without you in the household every day, some of that discipline that they needed to have is not there, and they still float off and do their own thing. So it hasn't been easy. I mean, all my daughters are still close to me, but they still got their own mind, and some of the things that I would have instilled in their thinking, it's just not there, because you can't be a part-time dad. It's not easy. But now it's kind of like our president. He took us out of NATO, right? Then when he did something crazy, he went to NATO and asked them for help, right? Well, the same with my daughter. Just a week ago, she called me. Well, she was here last week. She says, Dad, you tell me all this and you tell me all of that. Now you're back in Maryland, you called me and asked me about it. But you didn't want to hear it when you were here, did you? Now, what I'm saying to you is that if you listen, it might save you some headaches. And I used to tell all my kids, I can save you some headaches. It all depends on how well you listen. But when they haven't grew up with in your household of listening, then they kind of drift on their own.
Do you ever tell any of your daughters, your children, some of your stories about the past that you just told me?
No, because when they got grown, they just drifted away. I have one in town, Warren, and Kim hasn't been out here maybe twice last year. And so when you think about things you want to tell them, you try to cram it all in at one time. And then they don't want to hear it. Every time I see that, this is what you want to talk about. Well, if you came out a little more often, maybe some of the things that we talk about, I know would be in you already. I don't have to repeat it. But some of these life lessons that I've already gone through, I can save you if you just listen. If you just listen. It's like what I show you on the TV about that honey, the water. If they just listen. My youngest daughter, she came up 2 weeks ago. I've been doing that detox and reflexology for a few years now. She comes over 2 weeks ago for the first detox ever. Saw her at a party the other day. She said, you know what, Dad? I said, what, baby? My ingrown toenails don't hurt no more. Well, Dad, I've been trying to tell you. All you got to do is listen. You've been walking around here hurting all these years. And if you just listen and come over, it wouldn't be a problem because now I could show you some things that might help you. Now you don't have an ingrown toenail problem, do you? She said, no.
Do you think it may have something to do with the fact that we never taught our children our history? The stories that you just told me, you never told your daughter these stories, so she don't understand what you went through to gain that wisdom?
Yeah, that's true. No. No, they haven't been told these stories. They haven't been told. They hand it to me, see what it is. It might be a lady coming out here now. No, I don't recognize. See what I'm saying. Hello.
Oh.
Like I said.
Did you ever continue? Did you think maybe it's some of that's our fault because we never told our children and grandchildren these stories, what we had to go through to put them in the position that they're in today?
No, we didn't tell them. I didn't tell them the stories. My girls watched me build both houses, and they came out and helped me with gravel and stuff. But for me to tell them some of these old stories that we've gone through in the past, they're not interested. They want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. So I don't push it on them. But what I do try to emphasize when they have some health issues, some of the things that I've gone through and found out things that have helped me, I want to share with them. But then it's like turned off. Don't want to hear that. That's all you want to talk about. I said, no, you were here last week, and when I detoxed you, you got on fine. And I want to show you some other things. You don't want to hear it, did you? They're 51 years old now. So if you don't want to hear it, I zip it up. And what happened, what brought that about, I believe, is because you can't be a part-time dad. Because if you grew up in my household, some of these things, these issues, would have never came up. Because they had been listening along the way. It's kind of like putting a puzzle together. And after you get the puzzle together, you you look at the picture. Then you can go on your own. But being a part-time father, I see you on the weekends. I discipline you on the weekends. Come Monday, you ain't got to deal with Dad. You do what Mama say. Or you try to get by doing some of the things that you want to do that you know is wrong. And then you have to pay the consequences. You know, so I don't know. Children are different today, you know. Again, it takes two people going in the same direction, communicating. That's the most important thing. Got to be able to communicate. And you come up with the solution that's what's best for my family. What's best for that individual. Because they're all different. Sherry's a beautician and she's good at it. But attitude's not good. I mean, she's good. Tracy, beautician, she can do, her thing is sales. So I sent her money a few months ago, and man, she's doing great up in Maryland. She got websites. You probably pull up and seen some of the stuff. It's called Tracy Elkins Bryant. She can sell anything. I had made up in fact, I got it patent. It's a candle holder. I didn't think it was worth anything. But I made over $1,000 worth of those things, and she sold every one of them. And I wouldn't have bought it. But it was a cute little thing. I still got some around the house here. But she can still sell anything. Now, Pamela, man, that baby got a heart of gold. She loved babies. Matter of fact, she has two adopted kids, not adopted, but two foster kids with her now. And she don't care what color you are. She got a little white boy with her right now. Matter of fact, he's been with her now for a couple of years now, no longer than that.
Have you ever told your daughters, have you ever told them any stories about your grandfather, your father, or your mother?
They knew him. They knew my
grandfather,
dad. Yeah, they knew my dad. They knew my father. I remember saying to my dad one day with Sherry, Sherry's one that thinks she knows everything. I told my dad one day, I said, look, Dad, please take her home for me. Because if I take her home, she ain't gonna get there. She ain't get there. I can't deal with that mouth. But now that their mama's sick, and she now realizes the sickness she has, she passed on to some of the kids because they were around her most of the time. And that sickness is, I think, bipolar, which it's hard to deal with a bipolar person. You can't reason with them. And I really think our president is bipolar. He a one-track mind. He believes what he believes, and he thinks what he believes is right. He don't care how it affects you or anybody else. And that's how Sherry can be at times. She thinks that whatever goes through her head, you got to be wrong because I done did this and I just, I thought I came here before you did. And I know what the results is on a lot of things. And I can share with you some things that might save you some problems if you just listen.
But you think some of that is due to the fact that a lot of people in our generation never told the generation coming behind them some of the hardships that we had. Like you just told me.
Yeah.
All the ability that you got. But not one person, not one school teacher or anything told you, Cleo, you can be a doctor, you can be an airplane pilot, you can be a contractor. By not telling our children and grandchildren these stories, do you think that's where a lack of respect comes in?
I totally agree with you on that statement. They don't encourage you. You can, if they were to say sometime, you can do anything you want to do in this life, instead of beating you down before you even get started. Encourage them. If you can encourage a child, that the possibility of doing some greater things is within you, then it's not like I'm going to sit back and get depressed. That little trophy over there, that's my grandson's. When he was in college, he got 2 degrees from Erie Community College and Walton College down there in Canton. Grew up in a household without a father. And to this day, he's lost. He's lost. And he's got 2 degrees. He's capable of learning. But there was times in school, he would just never come out of his room. In a state of depression. No one to encourage him to, you can do this or you can do that. You know, it was missing. I tried to be there for all my kids and grandkids, but now they're all grown, and most of their life they've just saw granddad on a part-time basis. And some of their expectations, when they see that I'm not living too over bad, they figure you got a lot of money, which I don't. And because you are living here, and you're supposed to have a lot of money in their eyesight, and when they need something, they're supposed to be able to just dial the number and say, Granddad, I need this, I need that. And their expectations are, they never had a hard day in their life. You know, they may describe what they went through as hard, but they really haven't had a hard day in life.
Well, there again, do you think maybe that's because you never told them about your life in the projects and what you had to go through in order to have this?
The opportunity to talk to them about that doesn't present itself. You know, I would love to have told them some of the things that we've gone through to get to where we are today, but if they're not around, you know, the subject doesn't come up.
What do you think if you was growing up in an environment today, with the way it is today, what do you think that you would be?
I'm afraid to be honest, I never thought about it. What would I be today? I wouldn't be in Warren. I'd be somewhere where there's more opportunity. And I'd probably go back and finish my degree, get an education, because that's what opens the door to you, to almost anything. And all that means is you're capable of learning, that's all. That's all it means. Because, you know, my job's at Practical Electric. Being a foreman made me feel like this overgrown babysitter. And then when I was sent to engineering, I learned that a lot of the engineers out there didn't even have a degree in engineering. A degree just simply to them means that you're capable of learning. That's all it means. So that doesn't mean that because I didn't get a degree that I'm not capable of learning what you got there too. Just give me that opportunity. Don't turn me down when you first look at my black face. Don't do that. That's what a lot of them do. I got hired at Packard because of a quota they had to meet. They didn't hire me because I was so great. They hired me because they had a quota to meet, and I had a clean record. That's important too. You got a clean record, because if you got something like a felony on your record, they'll use that against you. And then, you know, as I see it, most black kids in jail today are there and don't need to be there. That's how I see it. Now, there's some that are. Let's put it away. I see it as this world, this country has a set of laws for black folk and a set of laws for white folk. And if you do the same crime, you don't get the same time. The black man gets tied up. White boy gets a little bit less, if any. That's how I see it. That's the way it has been for me throughout. So I kind of keep my nose. I keep my nose clean. But when I see our judicial system today, the laws for white and the laws for blacks are totally different.
You think that applies here in Warren?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, no question about it. You know that kid over in now that got shot? They shot him. The cop shot him. Didn't even have any weapons on him. You remember that one, don't you? That was my cousin's daughter, boyfriend. She had a baby for him. No, he's gonna grow up without a dad too. Oh no, that thing in Warren, Ohio is just as bad. I tell you what. Remember when Gate had that shop on Howland? Okay. I'm over there. They were chasing this black kid. I mean, he was making tracks, getting away from the cops. Finally ended up in front of Gate's shop. I watched them beat that boy. That wasn't their job to beat him. It was their job to arrest him and take him downtown. But I watched them beat that boy. I went down and told Angelo, the mayor at the time. He ain't did nothing about it. But does it exist in Warren? You're doggone right it does. It's still going on today, man. I live out here in Chandler. I've been out here for 41 years. I have been stopped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, or 6 times, if not more. Never given a ticket. Never given a ticket. I was at the corner of Elm Road by Coe Valley. The deputy sheriff was sitting on the right side. He didn't make me a turn at a red light. Both of us stopped. I turned left and go on down Hoagland Blackstone Road. He decides to follow me. He waited till I got to the darkest part of the road and stopped me. Now I'm recognizing him and following me. I knew he was following me, so I set my cruise. Beat him at 45. I said at 40. Going straight. Pulls me over. Says I was bobbing and weaving. I said, no. Well, I said, look, give me your badge number. Just give me your badge number. We'll deal with this now. So I went down and reported him. Second time I got stopped, I left Walmart. Stoplight. Right-hand turn. Pulled in Coe Valley to turn around. I had 6 cops' cars on me. I said, what you pulled me over for? He said, I asked the questions. I said, what you pulled me over? I put Bay Boy on the speaker at that time. I said, Bay Boy, I just got pulled over for no reason at all. He said, Bay Boy got talking to him and letting him understand that he knew who their bosses were. They finally turned me loose. Second time. Third time got stopped in the black car. Left Carolyn's. My cousin.
Your black cars are what?
Huh?
Your black cars are what?
The Cadillac. Okay. Left Carolyn's house. My cousin had died. It was around 12:30. Coming through Warren. Washington Street. Yep. And forget the guy pulled me over. That's why she pulled me over. He says to me, Just want to look in your car. I said, for what for? I said, you're not going to shoot me, are you? He started laughing. She said, no. I said, well, why'd you pull me over? He was thinking I was driving a stolen car. He let me go too. Never got a ticket. Yeah, does it exist in Warren? Heck yeah. Deal with it on a daily basis. It's out here in Champion. It's in Warren. Cortland. Oh, I built the first house. I had a '75 Cadillac. You remember that one? Big long one. I go out to Cortland. The guy that was finalizing my prints for the house on Comstock. His name was Ben Chabon. I go to work the next day. White guy says to me, heard you was in Cortland last night. That's Charlie, how did you know I was? He said, because the man had pulled your number up and followed you. I was right here in Cortland. So, it's here, man. Just because of the color of your skin, they pick you out for no reason at all. That's what I do. And I try to tell my kids, So Tracy, when she was here last week, I said, try to get into the reasonable hour before it gets after dark. If you're out there too long, they'll mess with you. But Daddy, I'm old. I'm 51 years. I said, Tracy, I'm trying to tell you how it is out here. Try to get in before too long after dark. You're black, number one. Number two, they don't recognize you. They don't know you. I mean, I've been out here 49 years. They ought to know me by now. I don't have no problem with the Champion Police Department. They overlook my place. But the Bezetta and the deputy sheriff in that area, you better get in. Don't give them any reason to stop you. Because you're going to get stopped because you're black. One time she was here, she got stopped on 422. And he asked her, was she related to Stanley? And of course, she said, yeah. That's the only reason why they let her go.
And Stanley is who?
Stanley is assistant prosecutor. He was assistant prosecutor attorney in Warren. And I've been stopped off of Elm Road. And the guy said, just tell Stanley I'll let you go. Well, what you stopped me for to begin with? Let's face it, you stopped me because I'm black. That's all this. It's all about.
Now, one last question.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of church life did you have?
Oh, I go to Second Baptist. I've been in Second Baptist all my life. I try to attend Second every Sunday. Experience I had 2018. Having difficulty passing water. Found out I had a tumor in my bladder. They removed the tumor. The tumor was cancerous. They got it all, but they wanted to go back in a second time to make sure. Probably the second or third day after my surgery, I heard a voice in my room. And I kept saying, who's in here? There was no one in the room but me. That's a true story. So he told me that my tumor was cancerous. That's all he said. So when the doctors came in, I already knew. There was no one in that room but me. I heard that voice as clear as you and I sitting and talking today. That's the fact. So when you talk about church, oh yeah, he's there. He's there. That no one kids you. He knows all of what you do. He knows all about you. I have a movie on this Apple TV. The name of the video is The Gospel of John. Yeah, these people are actors. But I took the Bible and I followed the Gospel of John Bible with the movie. I'm the kind of person that when I see something, I can retain it. I can go to church, and the pastor can take scriptures from different parts of the Bible, and it may not stick with me. But when I see it, I can tell you about the lady at the well. I can tell you about him when he turned the water to wine. I can tell you about when he made the blind man see and told the man 30 years. I saw it. It stays with me. So seeing that and then hearing a voice in my room, put them together. So I thank God every day that I put my feet on the floor. Because Fred and I, we're at the age where we're seeing a lot of our friends just leave here, and we're still here. If my conclusion of your interview is he real? Believe it. He's real. Let no one kid you, but my mother and father raised us up in Second Baptist. He raised up in church, that's what I'm going to say. I remember when Second Baptist was down there on Walnut Street where it was flooded all the time. That's how long I've been in church. So yeah, Second Baptist, am I a church home? Am I a Christian? Yes, I am. If I have to stand alone on that, I will. Because what I've gone through in the last 2 years, it's only through the grace of God that I'm still walking around here today. This didn't just happen. You know, over our lifetime, we fall in a pattern with what commercial dictates. For example, is soda pop, beer, alcohol, not realizing is it good or bad for you. You just drink it because it tastes good. But now that I've gotten older and experienced a few things, even in our food today, there's a lot of impurities in our food. And when I relate that to the tumor that I had, it probably was a buildup over many, many years. And then when I think about when I was in my 20s having ingrown toenail problems, how it's all led me to detoxification and understanding impurities in the body that in gravity goes to your feet, and understanding that the body's trying to live. And in doing so, it's trying to push the impurities out from gravity, which is your feet. And it's in our food, it's in our air we breathe, it can be in the water we drink, it could be in a lot of different things, but it's made me understand a little bit more about my body and what I put in it. And being inquisitive of them, what foods can I eat to enhance, rebuild? All I want to do is live out what God promised me. And it's as clear as I can tell you in Genesis 6:3, He promised you 120 years. And in Psalms, He promised you 70, which is 70, if you're healthy.
This reflexology that you do, do you think it's important that you find somebody younger to pass this on to?
Absolutely, Fred. If I track my grandkids, my daughters, they don't seem to be interested in it. So if I could pass it on to someone, I'd do it in a minute, man. I'd do it in a heartbeat. Because they had a thing on TV about the detoxification being a joke, a hoax. It's not. When I experienced the hiccuping, went to 4 different doctors, not one doctor told me hiccups are related to acid reflux, except Dr. Newman. So he sends a report back to 2 other doctors of what his findings were. He went down inside of me to see if I had tumors, and I thought I was there for hiccups, but he shared that with me. So now, my family doctor prescribed 2 different types of pills for acid reflux. Neither one of them worked. So I decided to come in. My head was all messed up from the second pill he gave me, So I came in and did a detox for 10 minutes. I felt the stuff coming out of my head. And I haven't had that problem ever since. That ain't no joke. The detoxification is not a joke. It's for real. My sister Cleo can tell you her experience with that too.
Now, how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing detoxification now for about 10 years. Understanding the negative and positive ions in the body. Understanding the connection between salt and the electrical portion of your makeup. It's all tied together. And when you get a lot of impurities built up in your body, you need to clean it out internally. When you realize that if you get cut, what helps your body to heal up, as this one doctor speaks about stem cells, oxygen helps your body to heal up externally. When you have an internal injury, oxygen helps your body to heal up internally. And it comes from your water. That helps. But now you want the best water you can find. And me doing what I do out here with this water, I've learned how to flush some of the impurities out of water before it gets into my body. I don't get it all out when I do what I do, but I've compared my water with city water. And what I've done was use their machine, the SD501 they call it. I run water from the city through the machine into a glass jug. And put the glass jug on a cooler and have them drink the water from the cooler. When you finish drinking the water from the cooler, you can't see through the jug. That's how much junk is left in the water.
The point I'm trying to make is, what's the extent of your education? Do you have a degree?
No.
You have no degree?
Mm-mm.
So your formal education stopped where? At Warren G. Harding High School, basically?
It's basically stopped at Warren G. Harding High School, yeah.
And no teacher, no school teacher at Harding High School ever encouraged you to?
No. No, not one. Not one.
Okay, the last one. This,
But you can go this way. Can you get right there? Not one.